My name is Ashlyn. I'm a full-time paramedic. Welcome back to my channel. But is this appropriate? So if you're seeing this video, that means I am on a trip right now, and I promised myself when we booked this trip, I would not be touching EMS related things, and I'm holding myself to that. It is my husband and I's honeymoon. It's almost our 1-year wedding anniversary, and this trip I have never been more excited for. We have not had like a real vacation that was not conference related, EMS related, and I don't even know how long. It's a state that we've never been to. The only time I'm going to be picking up my phone or this camera is to film like maybe a little highlight reel. That is it. You will not see any EMS content from me, and I'm so excited. But in preparation for that, I still want to put out some content, so I'm pre-filming a whole lot of things, including this video. Yesterday on Instagram, I asked you guys to ask me some questions, whether it was about me, whether it was about EMS, and I'm going to answer them while putting my makeup on because I am actually taking headshots today for a couple resumes, for a couple conferences, and I don't trust anyone else to do them. And the last time I did headshots, they came out beautiful. Nobody even knew that I took these, so let's get started. I zoomed you guys in. I am so sorry that you are this close to my face. Just because I know my girlies out there, if you are interested in what makeup product that I'm using, it is going to be somewhere on the screen. Let's get the most obvious, most asked question out of the way across platforms. When am I going into flight? All right, here's the deal when it comes to flight. It's not that I don't have an interest in getting my CCP or my FPC. If you don't know what that is, critical care paramedic, flight medical provider, same thing, different shapes. It's not that I don't have an interest in that. I have actually always said that my answer to this question is I have a big interest in the knowledge, taking the class, learning all of the critical care concepts. I don't know if I have an interest in the job. One of the things that is holding me back from a flight license right now or a critical care license is the fact that there aren't many services around me right now. I'm in a big city. All of the level 1 trauma centers are here. If somebody needs to go to the level 1 trauma center, we're gonna take them there. If they need a stroke center, we're gonna take them there. Cath lab, it's drivable for us. So naturally, there isn't a lot of flight services around here. And the flight services that are here are very specialized. Like my area has a neonate and maternal fetal helicopter. That would be fun. I'm not gonna lie. I love OBGYN. I've always had an interest in OBGYN, but sadly they do not hire critical care and flight paramedics. Rude. The only 2 services I've genuinely ever had an interest in is extremely far from my house. And flight is not a job where you can just like be hired on PRN and work there occasionally. Like the orientation is long, the training is long. It takes a lot to adapt to a flight job. I can't just apply PRN for my first ever flight job and expect to excel at it. It's going to be a time commitment. It's going to be an everything commitment. And right now, the cards are just not in play for that. The other thing that's holding me back from a critical care license is the fact that everything in this career, whether it's healthcare or EMS, it's use it or lose it. If I'm not using it, I'm going to lose that information because it's not something I'm using every single day. It's not something I am around every single day. So if I don't plan on using it anytime in the near future, I am not going to commit to hours of studying and learning to use a license or to not use a license. You know what I'm saying? If I don't plan on using it right now, if I don't have it in my timeline to use it right now, then I'm not gonna get it. That's gonna be a waste of time and commitment that I could be doing anything else with right now. I'm not saying that flight is a waste of time, but for me, right now in my life, it would be a waste of time because I wouldn't be using the license. Anyways, so to answer everyone's question, it's not that I'm not interested in flight. It's not that I don't see it in my future. It's that it's not in my current plans right now. I like where I am. I like being a 911 provider. I like my business. I like building my business. I enjoy what I do, and I don't want to change that. I'm very content with my life right now. All right, question number 2. I was actually really excited to answer this question. Do you have any hobbies outside of work or content creation? Absolutely. But I don't want to discredit the fact that content creation was a hobby for me and it still is a hobby. I'm going to put a pin in that and we'll get back to it because there is a question about that. If I am not doing anything related to my business or I am not at work, there's probably 3 things that I am doing. Number 1, I am probably at the gym. I love going to the gym. The gym has been a huge part of my life for the better part of 5 years. It has helped me tremendously with not only my mental health, but also my physical health. I could make an entire video about physical fitness in EMS and how the gym gave me confidence in myself that I literally could have never imagined in a completely separate video. But to make a long story short, the gym is beneficial in so many ways, not only just physical, but also mental. I grew up very, very small my entire life. I was called a beanstalk for my entire childhood. I was a ballet dancer. Did that shock any of you? I was a cheerleader. Did that also shock any of you? I was a high jumper, but I was always significantly smaller. I'm 5'10". I have legs that take up 75% of my body. And when I got into EMS, I realized really quickly that this is a physical career. Like, you have to be somewhat physically in shape to maintain a career like this. And if you don't, then your health is going to suffer. So I made a vow that after I finished paramedic school, that I would take physical fitness seriously, and I have. Now, I will say in the last year, I actually made a TikTok about this about 2 weeks ago now. I will say that my physical fitness has slipped a lot, and there's a couple different factors for that, but I do plan on getting back into it very, very soon. But overall, going to the gym does make me really, really happy. It's something that I really enjoy. It's not just like a chore for me. It's like an actual physical pastime. If I am not in the gym though, something I really enjoy is actually cooking. For those of you who don't know, I have celiac disease. Celiac disease is an autoimmune disorder where your body is allergic to the protein gluten. It's an allergy. It's an autoimmune disorder. I'm not getting on that soapbox today, but I have had it my entire life. I have never known a life without celiac disease. Fun fact. And cooking in food in general is actually a really big insecurity of mine. I was a really picky eater growing up, but it was by nature. It was not by choice. My food palette was so limited in general because of celiac disease that I just grew up a very picky eater. And as I got older though, I realized I was really bored with food, so I would just randomly start trying foods. And it would make my mom extremely anxious because she was also a picky eater. She has celiac disease as well. So when I started college, that's when I really got sick of food. And I was like, I don't deserve to eat the same meals every single day. I want to figure out how to cook for myself. So I did. I have grown up around homemade food my entire life because of celiac disease, or like alterations to food because of celiac disease. So I started figuring out how to cook, and I love it. I love every single minute of it. And I have expanded my food palette. I don't even know how big since I was even in high school. I used to never eat vegetables. I used to never eat fruits. I would only eat like chicken and ground beef. I really didn't like steak or pork or anything like that. And I am to the point where I will try everything at least once. And if I don't like it at a restaurant or somewhere, I'm gonna make it myself, and I'm gonna figure out how to make it to where I will like it. There is truly only a few things that I don't really like. And if I don't like it, or if I don't know I like it, there's 2 reasons why. Number 1, I've only had it one way and it wasn't the greatest. Or number 2, I'm allergic, so I literally can't eat it. But yeah, cooking has been an extremely fun activity for me, especially now being married. My husband and I eat almost every single meal at home, and cooking for another person sometimes is really interesting when you have celiac disease, because they don't realize what they're eating is gluten-free. They don't realize, oh, this really isn't that different than normal food sometimes. And it's always a really big compliment and it makes me feel really happy when Austin enjoys the meals that I eat. And sometimes it's a big burden off of my shoulders because I think everyone with celiac disease or food allergies is going to relate to this. I feel extremely guilty in my relationship when we can't go out to eat. We can't go to restaurants because they don't have a good gluten-free menu, or it's not known to be the safest. And I can see like Austin gets a little frustrated, but he would absolutely never tell me because it's not fair to me. So when I do cook at home, I try really, really hard to make it good. I have put a lot of work into cooking and finding meals that are good because it's a big insecurity of mine that like sometimes we don't have the luxury to just go out to every single restaurant. Something I also really like is reading, but I have that lovely type of ADHD to where sometimes I physically cannot sit still and read a book. So I am actually heavily into audiobooks. Love a good audiobook. A couple of my favorite recommendations. Number one, if you haven't read this book yet, I don't know how you haven't read it, but I'm Glad My Mother Died by Jeanette McCurdy. It is seriously one of the absolute most gut-wrenching books I've ever listened to. I've never read it. I've listened to it in my entire life. She narrates the book herself in the audiobook. Oh my God. I still think about it on the daily sometimes. Like I'll randomly see a video about it and I'm like, oh, I remember reading that book. And it's amazing. It's fantastic. Second audiobook, I have talked about this, oh my God, so many times on my TikTok. Everyone and their mother needs to read Heroine. Heroine is about a girl that suffers a injury her senior year of high school, and she gets prescribed narcotic medication for her injury and she becomes addicted to it. And the entire book is her narration and perspective of addiction and how she kind of just falls into the disease. And at the end of the book, it shows like her rock bottom. That book makes me nauseated, but in a good way. And it actually has really helped me as a healthcare provider because I think one of the main demographics of patients that we see sometimes is the people suffering from addiction. And even as EMS providers, I think specifically, we get really frustrated sometimes seeing the same person over and over again. And we're like, you say you're going to detox. Are we actually going to do it this time? And falling into the trap of being frustrated with these patients is incredibly easy. Truthfully, heroin is one of the main reasons why my perspective has changed so much about people suffering from addiction. It has given me so much empathy for these patients, and I love this book. Every time I listen to it again, you have to listen to it. You have to listen to it. Do not pick it up and read it. Listen to it. It is an experience. And I truly think if you listen to it, you will get the full effect and you will have a brain-altering experience reading it. I mean that with my full chest. But every time I listen to it, I get equally as nauseous as the first time I ever read it. The just narration, especially towards like the last 5 or 6 chapters, you know what's coming and it makes you sick. It really does. And then you have to sit back and think, this is someone's reality. This book could be based off of a true story. I don't know if it is, but it's very possible that it could have been because it's so realistic and I cannot speak enough about heroin. Book recommendations, audiobook recommendations, please leave them down below. But just so you know, I am not a fantasy person. Please do not recommend me a fantasy book. It is not my forte. I am a thriller, psychological thriller, lover girl through and through. Don't recommend me a fantasy. Okay, that question was very long-winded. Let's do a little bit quicker. Oh my God, speaking of audiobooks, this just popped up on my memories on Instagram. A year ago today, I finished listening to We Used to Live Here. Genuinely one of the worst books I have ever listened to. All right, next question. Best teaching tips. I only have 2. Stay humble, stay on top of it. One of the best traits any educator can have, whether it's in healthcare or just an educator in general, is having humility and having the ability to come to terms with the fact that you are not going to know everything. You are not supposed to be the expert in the subject that you are teaching. You are supposed to be a guide. You are supposed to be a mentor. And one of the things that a student needs to see in their mentor is humility. Because if you have humility, you have enough confidence to say, I don't know this, then that student is going to have the same humility or hopefully pick up that humility. That to me is the best trait that you can give a student. When I started as an EMS adjunct at Missouri Southern, I was terrified. I actually hated going for a while because I did not like the fact that I was being looked at as like the person in charge. I was the person people were coming to for questions. I didn't like that. It made me nervous because I know myself. I don't know everything. I'm 5 years in and I still don't know everything. I could be 10 years, 20 years in, I'm still not going to know everything. And over the years, I have lessened that anxiety a lot. Now, when I started private tutoring back in February, I had that fear double, triple. That fear still paralyzes me sometimes because people are booking me. They're spending their hard-earned money on my time because they need help with something. That's terrifying. That is vulnerability that I did not know I possessed. And I actually hosted Registry Rescue over the summer. It was a registry prep course for EMTs, AEMTs, and paramedics. And humility was learned very fast in this prep course because I did not know everything. I did not know the answer to some of the NREMT questions. And you know what? I got some of them wrong. I did. And I said, learned something new. And we moved on. I think having the ability to not freak out and be like, why was this wrong? Or, I don't agree with that answer. I think the ability to not react that way is something that I would have never had 3 years ago. I wouldn't have had it 4 years ago. But the fact that I have it now shows me that I have been brought up very well in my EMS education journey and being an instructor. Having humility is something that a lot of instructors sadly do not have, they do not possess, and they should possess it. If you don't have the ability to have humility, I don't believe you should be in education in any capacity, but especially EMS, because EMS needs more humility across the board. What are some tips you would have to someone who is thinking about medic school but also has a full-time job? If you were going to medic school and you already work full-time, you need to come to terms with the fact that you are not going to have a lot of free days for the next 18 or so months. And if you sit there and bitch and moan for the entire 18 months, I need you to remember two things. Number one, this was a choice and you are not the only one that went through it. Number two, it's temporary. I actually went to paramedic school working full-time. I did the 4896 while I was in paramedic school. I went to work on Saturday and Sunday, and then Monday through Friday, I had dedicated to school. Tuesdays and Thursdays were class days, and then Monday, Tuesday were the 2 days that I really tried to do clinicals, and I tried to get everything done in those days. Friday was my day off, and I prepared to go into work. I missed a lot. I missed holidays, I missed birthdays, I missed my own birthday, I missed everything. It was also my first year working EMS, so not only was I adjusting to an EMS schedule, I was also adjusting to like the life changes that come with being a first responder at a ripe 19 years old. So you can tell that my mental health was probably not great in paramedic school. The biggest downfall that I see in paramedic students is they complain so much about how busy their year is. And like, girl, I get it. Paramedic school is busy. Paramedic school is hard. People forget two things when they're in paramedic school. Number one, people have been through it before. You are not the first person to go through paramedic school. You're not the first person to not have an obscene amount of days off for an entire year. But the other thing you're forgetting this, it's a medical program. It's a medical program. Whenever I hear people say how hard or how stupid or dumb homework and quizzes and papers are, I want to just grab their shoulders and shake them. Because this is a medical program. What did you expect? I think the culture around EMS education right now is the reason that EMS education is not going to change in the future. There's a lot of things that are not going to change or be the reason that EMS changes, but the culture surrounding EMS education right now is one of the main reasons that it's not going to change. Oh, that just got everywhere. Let me give you an example. I worked with a paramedic student the other day, and they were complaining about the paper they were writing, the assignments they had, and the quizzes that they had to take. And I sat there and I was like, what do you want out of your paramedic school then? Like, if you had to run a paramedic program, what would you do for your students? What would you give your students to help them learn and help them succeed in the program? And he just says, I wouldn't give them homework. They have enough to do. They have enough on their plate. And I said, so you expect them to come to class and learn absolutely everything from a lecture? And he said, yeah, that's how a lecture is supposed to be. And I said, how big's your paramedic textbook? And obviously it was sitting right there. It's this freaking thick, right? Do you expect your paramedic instructor to memorize every single line in that book and lecture on it? But you turn around and complain about lecture. You complain about going to lecture. You complain that you have lecture. There is no perfect format of a paramedic school. But what I think is really, really losing the plot when it comes to paramedic school is the fact that the culture surrounding it is forgetting that this is a medical program. Nursing school has homework and quizzes. Nursing school has papers. RT school has quizzes and homework. RT school writes papers. Medical school, I understand that we are not doctors, but you might as well call us a ditch doctor. Y'all think you're doctors with the egos you have. They do double the work. They're lucky to get a lecture. You guys can't even open the dang book to write your papers or go actively search for your answer. You're relying on ChatGPT to figure out what the contraindications are for the intervention the question is asking about. I realize that that is not the answer to the question that is being asked. That was just a rant that I went on. My advice for someone that is going full-time is you have got to take your off days seriously. Whenever I had literally one day off in paramedic school, my husband texted me. Whenever you have literally a weekend off in paramedic school, you've got to savor those days. And when I say savor those days, I don't mean spend that entire day studying, catching up on work. You can do that in increments, but you need to do things for yourself. Go on a walk, sleep in, go take a hot shower, go take yourself on a date, go have a date with someone you haven't seen in a while, talk to your friends, go to that concert, take your dog on a walk, go get a dog. Maybe not. Delegate your time and actually take care of yourself, because if you start losing yourself in paramedic school, it may be really hard to get back up again. You are going to go through a lot of life changes when you're in paramedic school, and the last thing you want to do is look at yourself before you started paramedic school and miss that person and regret who you become. You need to do things that keep yourself together in paramedic school. Create yourself a routine, have non-negotiables for yourself, have boundaries for yourself, and take care of yourself. This program's hard. Paramedic school is not supposed to be easy, and if you're in a good program, then you're going to be a part of a program that is very rigorous. They're going to have high standards for you, but you are going to get through it. I get asked a lot when I wear makeup how I do makeup around my eyelashes because I wear eyelash extensions. I have this brush from BK Beauty. It is the A506 brush. It's like a flat top little angle brush. And I take this NARS pot concealer in the shade Vanilla, and I kind of just close my eye and I lightly tap and go all around my lashes, trying to get as close as I can to the lash line. I don't wear makeup a lot when I wear lash extensions because the makeup on the bands does make them dirty and it makes them loose, but when I do, this is what I do. I am doing an EMS related study for med school. I am interested in knowing more. Truthfully, what I would tell somebody that is wanting to do like an EMS research paper or like a field of study for EMS is come do a ride along. There's so much I can tell you, but there's also so much that we can show you, because we do not just get in a truck, come to your house, take you to the hospital. We have operations. We have day-to-day chores that we do. We have a rhyme and a reason why our trucks are set up the way they are. We know every single piece of equipment on a truck. A lot of people don't realize half the things we were expected to do, like take a patient home from the hospital, take them to a different hospital that has different capabilities than the current one they're admitted in. We have to know our response areas. We have to know directions. We have to know how to read a map. We have to have driving operations, know how to operate the truck. We have to know every single piece of equipment on the truck. I think the job is a lot more operational than even an EMT student realizes. When I have an EMT student come on like their first ride along with me, there's so many things that they don't realize about the job. It's not just get in the truck, drive to the hospital. There's a lot to it. There's talking on the radio. There's, do you know how to even drive the truck? Do you know your directions? Do you know how to find how to get to the hospital from a random plot on a map? There's so many things that people do not realize EMS has to know. What are you most excited for about the Kentucky conference? If you did not know, I am actually going to be one of the keynote speakers at the Kentucky conference. And when this video is going out, it's going to be like exactly a month out probably. I'm so excited. I am so excited. I have been to Kentucky before. I have not been to Owensboro, but I actually heard about this conference last year when it happened. I had a few friends go, and when they came back from the conference, they could not shut up about how good the conference was, how fun it was, how it was so much bigger than they thought it would be. So I am truly excited to just go and experience it. I think that's the fun part about going to some of these more local conferences and getting to see all the different exhibit centers and meet all the different services. I love seeing how EMS is different across the freaking country. My goal is to go to all 50 states and be in a conference at every single state, because I think there's something so just fascinating how EMS is different in every single state. It's different in every single county you go to. But whenever I go to a different state and they're describing to me like how they run, what their operations look like, it's fascinating. And I love it because that's their normal, but it's something like crazy to me. But then when they come ride with me, they're gonna think that my operations are absolutely bonkers. And it's just so interesting. So I think the thing I'm most excited about is to just meet more people. Even though I've been to Kentucky before, I love it. I love meeting new people. I love hearing how their normal is so different. I was actually talking to a client yesterday from New York, and they sent me their protocol list so we can kind of go over them together. And I'm reading through it and I'm like, what is this? Or like, what is that? And he's like, oh, this is like how we run things. And I'm like, I've never heard of that. And it's so much fun. I'm trying to decide what I want to do for my eyes, because I mean, for headshots, you don't want it to be like too crazy, but you also don't want it to be like too boring. Okay, we're going to take the pin out of the conversation that I said we put a pin in earlier. How did you decide to get into influencer / social media type stuff from the love of education or etc.? This is a really loaded question. I want to sit down one day and just spill all about what I did to start on social media, what got me started into social media, because this journey has been something so unexpected, but also one of the best things that's ever happened to me. But what got me into it was not only my love for content creation, my love for sitting in front of a camera, my love for editing videos. That was a heavy contributor, but I think what got me into it the most was I've always been into social media. I have always watched YouTube. I've always been a big lover of Instagram and people posting videos. I was a big, makeup girly. I watched makeup tutorials all the time. I love watching vlogs and people go on trips and stuff like that. But I think the thing that I loved the most about social media, and it's the reason that I work so hard on my content, is when somebody puts out a piece of content, That is their art. That is something that that person spent hours filming, buying the equipment for, investing in. They spent hours editing that footage, tweaking the smallest frame that the naked eye would never even care about. And they posted that, showing their vulnerability, and they are so proud of it. That's why I love social media and content creation. And it's also why I am a person that will watch YouTube videos before I even turn on a TV. Because in my head, I'm not just watching a YouTube video, I'm supporting someone's art. It's just like when you go to a local art gallery and you look at someone's art and you're like, wow, that's beautiful. You're appreciating someone's art. Every view that I give somebody is supporting them. And ever since I started having that mindset, I have never been able to really look at TV the same. I understand that's also somebody's art. Somebody has dreamed about being an actor their entire life. There's just something special about putting something out there that you created. You filmed, you edited, you posted. I will always have a love for that. For me specifically, how I got into social media was I never stopped. I actually am presenting Just an Influencer with No Experience. It is a presentation that I have worked so dang hard for. It's going to be my keynote presentation at the Kentucky Conference and the ECU Conference in Irving, Texas in October. And one of the things I talk about in this presentation is I was told so many times to not post on social media. Do not post about your job. It's going to be the thing that gets you fired. It's going to be the thing that is the downfall of your career. And I almost listened to those people so many times. And I was always like, why are they talking about that? Why are they saying that? Like, what's the point in saying that? Where are they coming from? I never understood it. And when I started getting a lot of hate on social media, when I started, seeing like backlash and negative comments and stuff, I understood it. I was like, yeah, this sucks. Why would anyone want to put content out there for people to hate on? But then I realized how many people I was also helping. I also realized how many people relied on my videos. They look forward to my videos. They look forward to seeing me on their screen. And I was like, I can't stop this. Look at what I've done. Look at the impact I've made. Why would I not want to do this? And that's my why. That is why I've never stopped posting on social media, and I probably never will. No matter how big I get on social media, no matter how far I get into my career, I truly don't think I can ever stop posting on social media. It brings me so much joy, and it reminds me that there is something that I can create that is bigger than just being a paramedic. I think there's something to be said about that as well. If you were not doing EMS, what would you want to do? This is a really loaded question because I don't know. I have like 2 ideas, but that's about it. When I was a kid, I was absolutely obsessed with makeup. I was going to be a makeup artist. Specifically, I wanted to be in special effects. I was addicted to the show called Face Off as a kid. I still watch clips of it sometimes. I think it still airs on TV actually. And oh my God, the things people can create with makeup is absolutely insane to me. And it's gorgeous. It's lovely. I don't understand. I don't comprehend it sometimes. But another thing that I always tell students, like if paramedic students ask me this question, here's the answer I give them. Anesthesiology. A CRNA, because that was not only my favorite clinical in paramedic school, I also just think that if I was introduced to CRNA in high school, I would have gone that route. I would have been in the OR. I love airway management. It was definitely like my favorite subject in paramedic school. And when I went to the OR and I saw like what an anesthesiologist does, I kind of had a little bit of a crash out. I was like, wow, this dude has a great life. This dude makes bank and he is thrilled about it. I should go into anesthesiology. And then I was like, wow, I actually would be restarting school and I don't want to do that. Everyone always tells me, it's never too late, it's never too late. It's too late. I am down bad for EMS. But yeah, I think that I would still be in healthcare in some capacity. I definitely think anesthesiology would be calling my name. I also really like OBGYN though. I love maternal fetal medicine, so I think maybe I would be, if I was a nurse, I don't think I would ever be a nurse, but I would definitely think about labor and delivery. OBGYN is definitely my favorite subject, I think. It's a subject that I don't think is taught enough about, and I don't think people take it seriously enough. You have 2 patients. You have 2 critical patients. That's scary. Let's do my eyebrows and answer one more question. Do you have any general advice for anyone that is in their medic ride time or clinical? Listen, buddy, I know you are burnt out. I know you are tired. I know that you are not getting paid for this. I think a lot of providers burn out from being preceptors because they're tired of the attitudes from paramedic students. Because, oh my God, I'm not getting paid to be here. At least you're getting paid to be here. This is unpaid labor. I could be doing so many other things right now. Babe, you chose to be in a healthcare department. You chose to be in a job that requires schooling, like a medic license. Why would you be getting paid to do that? I seriously think people forget that paramedic school is a healthcare program. And you are not the only person that chose to go through a healthcare program. There are so many other people. If you are out doing your ride times right now, if you are out doing your capstone, if you're doing ride-alongs, my biggest piece of advice to you is remember that it is temporary and that you have to look at every single clinical, every single ride time, every single call as a paramedic student. You have to look at it as an opportunity, because if you don't, if you look at things like they're stupid, if you look at a call that sounds dumb and you're like, I'm not going to learn anything from this, this is dumb, this is a waste of time, then yeah, you're not going to learn anything. You're not going to take anything from it. Even the smallest lift assist, you can learn something from that. Not enough students are taking the opportunity to sit back, observe, and learn. They are trying to rush through paramedic school. They're just wishing for it to be done because it's exhausting, it's stressful, it's unpaid labor. Girl, I get it. We were all in paramedic school at one point. You don't want to hear that though. But you are literally inhibiting your education if you do not zoom the heck out of your tiny little lens and start learning from every patient instead of just complaining all the time. If you choose to have a negative mindset about paramedic school and about the clinicals that you are on, you are never going to see the value in paramedic school. You are going to be a miserable provider before you even get that medic license in your hand. I have seen paramedic school ruin amazing paramedics, and it's because they were burnt out before the moment they got their license, and it sucks. And I truly think you hold the power to change your mindset. I used to not think that. I used to think that there are just some paramedic schools out there that are not meant to be programs. There are some students out there that are not meant to be providers. But the more I teach, the more I look into programs, the more I shadow programs, the more I look at students, the more I see students, you truly are in control. Even if you are at the worst program ever, you have the resources to learn. You have your book, you have the internet, which is a wonderful tool if used correctly. You have tutoring, you have providers to look up to. You have all the power to change your medic school experience. So stop blaming outside resources, get your head out of your butt, and start learning. Because if you come out of school that cocky, arrogant provider that learned everything in paramedic school, because I promise you, no one does. Everybody learns everything that first year being a paramedic. The first time somebody starts going into cardiac arrest on you, you're going to panic and you're going to blame every single resource other than yourself. And sometimes, like I said earlier, having humility is the most powerful trait that you can have. So start now. All right, well, that is my face. I love sitting here doing makeup. Usually I just have a TV show or some YouTube video. Well, that's all I got. this was actually really fun. This was super nice. I love doing my makeup. I actually get ridiculed a lot on my TikTok page for doing my makeup and doing videos because nobody cares about that. Nobody wants to see the girly side of you. Everyone just wants to see the EMS, the truck, the uniforms, the everything. I truly don't care. I'm going to do what I want, and if you want to listen to it, that's fantastic. If it's not for you, then keep scrolling. So there will be more of these videos. I had a great time. Usually I'm just sitting here listening to music or a YouTube video. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this a lot. If this is your first time on my YouTube channel, welcome. I have a bank of podcast episodes that I released a long time ago. You can absolutely go back and listen to them. I would really appreciate it if you like and subscribe on this channel, turn the bell on so you get notified every single time that I post. My goal is to post once a week, but I'm never going to hold myself to that. I'm going to post when I want, how I want, and y'all are just gonna have to deal with it. But no matter what, will always be here creating some type of content for you guys, and I'm going to put out things that make me proud. I'm going to put out things that make me happy. You can follow me on all my other socials. They are going to be in my bio. What also is going to be in my bio is the link to private tutoring. I am an EMS private tutor. I do EMTs, AEMTs, and paramedic. I have year-round availability that gets released a month ahead every single time. It's $50 for 1 hour. It's you and me on a Zoom call talking about whatever the heck you need, whether that's advice, whether that's pharmacology, ECG, whatever have you. Girl, I got you. But anyways, that's all. Have a good shift.